If I'm Dr. Barry in Melbourne, and I'm talking to Michael David in Philadelphia in the USA, and it's 10 to 2 here in the afternoon in Melbourne in Australia. What time is it there, David?
Oh, 10:55 p.m.
Yeah, I noticed David has just come back from a bit of military training there, so he's still got some of his army stuff on. Nothing like a bit of a militia here and there for a bit of exercise.
Yeah, I got to stay camouflaged,
Yeah.
in my house.
You were saying something about martial law a few seconds ago before we started recording. Can you just tell us what that actually means to the people?
The people don't realize that, all statutes and codes, every country is basically had something putting them under martial law back in the 1800s. In the United States, it started with the Lieber Code in 1861 and has never been canceled, and only can be canceled by a decree by the president. And even though there were new treaties done with in different areas, there's been nothing decreed to cancel the martial law at any time. And which is why you see the military courts everywhere with the yellow fringe flag, which is an unregistered flag of war, and under Section 700 is desecration of that particular military flag, because the base of that flag is military. The typical flag you see with the stripes going side to side like that, that is a military flag for military installations only. It is not the real American flag, which 99.9% of Americans don't know that.
And that's right. And all the courts in America, they've all got that flag. And I think it's got an arrow on top of the pole as well, which really says it's a military court you're actually walking into, rather than walking onto a ship, a maritime law ship.
But that's something other people don't know as well. The topper on the flag has a meaning. When you see that yellow fringe flag, wherever you see a yellow fringe flag, you're going to see, most likely, it's going to be an eagle on top with the wings facing down.
Oh.
That is bad. That's death and destruction. When the wings are facing up, it's a good flag. Wings facing down, it's a bad flag.
Well, we have the same thing here with the justice. You see it in England over the Old Bailey Court. We've got the lady with the scale of justice and the sword pointing up. Here,
yes,
deliberately in the Supreme Court in Melbourne, we have she's holding the justice scales just down here, but the flag is pointing down, which means no justice. Of course, no justice in proper grammar means no law.
Right. Since, everything is martial law since 1861 here, we're under foreign military occupation. We're basically a conquered country, and anyone who is a U.S. citizen with a social security number is an enemy combatant. Is an enemy of the occupying power, and so the occupying power will enforce the martial law upon everyone with that social security number. That's a U.S. person, the name on the birth certificate and IDs and stuff like that. But when you are a free inhabitant, according to the Geneva Convention, the occupying country cannot interfere with a sovereign people of that country or a free inhabitant. So when you go ahead and do your ID as a free inhabitant, start to make that status correction yourself, you might get a lot further, say, defending yourself in a court situation or against the revenue agent police officers roaming around.
Yeah, it won't be an easy battle. So basically, people have to identify that they're not part of that system. I think it was the Act of 1871 when America became a corporation, and I don't know whether Donald Trump can actually do anything about that, but I think the enemy of the people would be the Bar Association in the United States as it is here, or are they the main culprits?
Yeah, the United States was cooed with attorneys. Attorneys are the one that took over the United States. They hid the original 13th Amendment that, titles of nobility. to where anyone who wanted to be a lawyer couldn't be a U.S. citizen or hold any public office. So they hid that. All the other amendments and all moved up in line. And so no one's ever learned that in school, but it's always been there in the original Constitution.
Yes.
Which if anyone wants to look up the American Citizens Manual of Reference, you can get it off Amazon for like $15. It has the original 13 in there.
All right. I remember that. Yeah, that's what the Civil War was. It wasn't really over the freedom of slaves. It was basically over it was all down to monetary, getting that foreign bloody bank into the country and taking the place over. I wonder if Donald Trump, if he ever tried to remove the corporation from America back to a republic as it was supposed to be. I wonder, could he ever do it? Is that possible, or would he end up assassinated or something?
Well, he's tried to do some things in baby steps. But yeah, his handlers wouldn't agree with, obviously a lot of things about a republic. Because they're totally against it, because there's not supposed to be a Democratic Party in our government. It's only supposed to be a republic, period.
Oh, that makes sense, because we've got the Labour Party here in Australia, and they have it in England as well, and they got decimated in England in the elections, and they're the greatest bunch of ratbags that ever walked on shoe leather. What a waste of leather! But anyway, the Democrats, I mean, the performance recently is absolutely amazing. It's worse than the bloody virus, this flu floating around. They've got to be the biggest furphy bunch of morons in the world. They're making fools of themselves. What's the American people? The American people obviously must be awake to it, or are they all, as I said, out buying toilet paper as well?
Yeah, I think the American people, they're not taking it as seriously as other countries. But then again, they're too ignorant looking at their phones every 2 seconds to reply to Facebook posts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, anyone who pays attention to signs, maybe try and find out the meaning of the word corona. When you parse that, it has to do, if anyone wants to look up Mark Keyshawn Christopher's video, he explains it, what corona means. It's about the Golden Crown. Like we were talking about earlier, the week before the coronavirus came out, all the banks started buying up all the gold on a frenzy all of a sudden. That was covered by Dave Hodges' podcast. He's very good. He has a lot of people in positions in government that report to him secretly, and he releases information. And all of a sudden now we have the coronavirus, and the word corona has to do with the meaning, a gold meaning. And we have signs of the double bar dollar sign coming back in a bunch of spots. So if anyone has some extra bucks laying around, you might want to invest in a little gold, because the one who has the gold will rule, right? The golden rule.
Right. So what you're actually saying is the fact that the money is just printed these days now, but from now on, this could be the start of the leveling the economies, and the dollar will again be backed by gold. Would I be right in suggesting that?
Yeah, China, the United States, probably Australia, Canada. Within 6 months, we might be seeing gold-backed currencies again.
So that might lead to the end of fractional reserve, where they just print money and send the bill to the working people.
Now, what a lot of people don't realize about the Federal Reserve also, everyone with Social Security number is in the military. Federal Reserve notes are private military script for internal use only. So, when you're a free inhabitant or a people, not a U.S. person, they're not allowed to charge you for anything. They can't make you use the debit cards and the paper, the fake, the monopoly money and stuff like that. And another thing about you know, people with the IDs and stuff like that, when you get pulled over by a revenue agent, i.e. police officer, if he's forcing you to give you another identification other than this one that you made yourself, it's actually an act of an identity theft. And under the Geneva Convention also, it's a war crime for them to get you to go by another name.
Yeah, it's also human
like
rights.
Birth certificates here.
Yeah. I think
the birth certificates, obviously everyone knows it's not, it's not your name. The birth certificate number leads to your identity, like our good friend Bill, Bill Turner has mentioned in his videos.
Yeah.
And there's a split title done on birth certificates. People don't know that. There's 3 different organizations here that own the 3 different variations of the name on our birth certificates, with a first, middle, and last name, whether it be a middle initial or a middle name. That the primary agent for that is the Social Security Administration of Woodland, Maryland. We are only the authorized representative agent. We're not the primary agent. So what are they doing? Sending me a bill with a first name, a middle initial, and a last name into my letterbox. That belongs to them. So you forward it to them. Now, the surname, along with or the first and the surname together, the first and last name together, is owned by the state to where we were born. They are the primary agent. Once again, I am only authorized representative agent of that name. Again, it's why on the check line it says authorized representative, authorized representative, authorized representative, because the name on that check is not you. You're just the authorized representative agent with that bank account. You don't own it. That's why they can take your money whenever they want.
Yeah, people don't believe that. They when the banks crash, they can take your money. They passed the Bail In Act here in 2019. If the banks go down the tubes again, they'll just take people's superannuation. And
it's
of course,
the same thing here.
Yeah, people will just buy more toilet paper.
And last but not least, the first and middle name, which is the least commonly used with mail, that's owned by the Department of Vital Statistics. So those 3 entities own those variations of that all capital, we'll say all caps name from the birth certificate, but you are not that name, but your identity is contained within the birth certificate with the birth certificate number. You are your parents, your given name.
Yeah, well, that's what
with a hyphen in the middle, drawing it together.
Yeah, well, that's what Bill's been preaching to people for a while now, a long time, and a lot of people have taken up on it. But sadly, we're not getting to enough people. Well, anyway, David, we better wind up our little conversation. We'll do another one another time, because I think if we go on too long, the people they'll say, "Oh, I can't wait to get to the end," and they'll turn off. So anyway, I'll thank you very much for your input today. Is fantastic, and we will catch up again. So you can say hi to Bill Turner, as I know you're a fan, and then we'll.
Yes. Hi, Bill. Love your videos. We both listen to Mr. Thornton as well.
Okay.